Love it. Good morning, Kings Hill. How's everyone doing today? Great to see you here. So who in this room is open to finding more clients? Yeah, hopefully all of you, not the lady at the back. Everyone else. Is anyone here open to making more money in their business?
Yes, please.
Yeah, lot of enthusiasm there, and hopefully the ones online as well. So today we are going to be looking at increasing your profit by understanding your customer. I want to make this as fun as possible. Honestly, I was expecting a few more people in the room, so you guys are going to be very actively involved in today's talk. And there are prizes for participation. I'm known for throwing celebrations chocolates, but I was told there might be nut allergies in the room. So we've gone for jelly babies instead. I am notoriously bad at throwing, so would anyone like to take on that role? Anyone thinks they can accurately chuck some jelly babies around? This man over here looks relatively confident. Here you go. Try not to hit anyone in the eye. Explain all liability. Okay, so I'm going to be making three main points today. The first one is, why would you want to understand your clients? Secondly, how would you do it? And thirdly, what does this look like in practice? So my intention for today's session is that you leave feeling super inspired, pumped up, and actually empowered to go away and take action that will give you some real results in your business. So, anyone think that sounds good? Anyone ready to leave inspired and ready for action? Love it. So, the first question we need to think about is, why would you want to understand your ideal client? And I said we were going to go for audience participation. So there's some ideas in the slides, but can anyone tell me, what's the point? Why would we put the effort in to understand our ideal client?
Target.
Yes, so we can target. Anyone else?
We could build our resources and our services around.
Yeah, keep it coming. You got any more? I was expecting very interactive. So
I'm doing my best.
No pressure then.
No pressure, guys. Okay. So yeah, so the first reason we want to really understand our ideal client is so that we can connect with them and we can win them. So we can actually take them from being a lead or essentially a stranger and bring them into a relationship with us and actually bring them on to working with us. So when we understand them, we can understand where they are, where they're hanging out, whether it's in person, online. We can understand what motivates them, like what are they looking for in life and in their business? And what do they need to hear so that when they hear your messaging, they think, wow, that's me that she's speaking to, or he's, sorry, very female audience on this side. That's me that person's speaking to. I want that. I need what they're offering me. So the key things you want to be thinking about are, like, where are you marketing? Like, are you showing up in the right spaces? And understanding your target market is going to influence where you're showing up. And I guarantee you, several of you in this room are not currently showing up in the right places. You're not necessarily showing up in the wrong places, but there's probably places that you could be doing better than where you're currently at. It will also influence what you're marketing, the form that your marketing takes. For some of my clients, they do incredibly well through old school traditional flyers through the door. Like one of my highest growth clients, that is his key form of marketing. For some people, like for me, that was absolutely terrible. I would spend thousands and thousands and thousands and probably get nothing from it. So understanding your target market, who they are, where they're at, and what's going to work to bring them into a relationship with you is absolutely key. And then when you understand your target market, that conversion process gets much easier. So when they've come into your business as a lead, understanding what's going on in their head can actually help you to build that relationship further and make it a no-brainer for them to work with you. And once you've done that, once you've brought them on, you're working with them, the better you understand them, the longer you're going to keep them as a happy client, because you know what it is that's going to add value to them and give them that amazing experience of working with you. So how do we understand our ideal clients? Any ideas here? Okay, we're not going to be as interactive as I was hoping. Okay.
Surveys?
Yeah.
Surveys?
Yeah, there's lots of different things, but a lot of it is thinking about who you're already working with. So when we're thinking about our target market, well, I guess there's a question. What do we even mean by target market? What does that mean to you guys?
So type of company, size of company.
Yeah, so it's basically your ideal client that you serve and the person that you're targeting with your marketing. Sorry, my notes are not in the best way here. And you can have more than one target market. Actually, some of my clients have several, but it's really important that you understand and you profile each of them so that the messaging that you're putting out, your marketing that you're putting out, connects with them. Because it doesn't matter how good your marketing is, if it's not connecting with the people that you want to be working with, you're going to be very disappointed. And we want to concentrate our efforts on the people who are most likely to buy from us, assuming we like them and we want to work with them. And the mistake a lot of people make, and honestly, probably what a lot of you in the room are doing, is you're marketing to everyone. You're putting out marketing that's just, it's great, but it's not specific enough. It's speaking to a really wide audience, and it's not really landing deeply or deeply enough with anyone. When you really target your marketing, when you get it right, it can be absolutely magical what happens. And I know there's that FOMO, there's that fear of missing out, but honestly, trust me, if you're going too wide, you are missing out, but not in the way you think. So really dig deep, because we're going to do quite a deep exercise here, and I'd love you to really engage and really think about it. So in this room, for example, if this were the general public, not everyone is going to be in someone's ideal target market. And a lot of marketing, when it's going out very generically, it's we call it a spray and pray approach. Like you just fire it out and hope it hits somebody. But say, it's a very small room, like this guy here. Say this guy, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice pink shirt, like a bit pink. Say you were my ideal client, which in a room of this size is probably right. Like not everyone is your ideal client. And I'm just shoving my marketing out everywhere. The chances are that messaging is not going to land with him. It's probably going to hit other people, but it's not going to resonate. You're not going to grab onto it, and it's not going to work for me. Whereas if I understand that, right, this guy here, pink shirt guy, he is the person I want to be working with. I get in his head, I understand what's going on, and I target my messaging. If I'm now directing all my messaging at him and people like him, the chances of that messaging landing and being received and him taking action to come into my world and work with me is significantly higher. So there's the light bulb analogy, like, I didn't write down the wattage, but the same light bulb that can light a room, if you take that same energy and you concentrate it into a laser, that exact same energy, it can cut through steel. And that's what we want to be doing with our messaging and our marketing, is we want to be concentrating our efforts. So we're still putting out the same effort, it's just getting us hugely better results. So how do we do this? Well, I invite you to consider the Boston Consulting Matrix. It's not massively well known. It's used by this super famous consulting group, but it's actually a really simple concept. And I always really encourage my clients to think about the people that are currently working with them, the people that are currently buying from them, and to profile them. So how it works is it tracks the enjoyment of working with a client against the value that you get from working with them. So basically, like, what are they paying versus how much of a pain in the ass or enjoyable to work with are they? So in this bottom, and I've also put this the wrong way around, so I hope I don't confuse myself. It still works the same, but maybe not for my brain. So this bottom quadrant here, the A's, these are the clients that don't pay you particularly much. Does anyone have any of them? Yeah, we all do. And also the clients you don't really like working with. When the phone rings or when you get a voice note, all my clients into voice note me these days, you're just like, oh God, what now? There's that feeling of dread. You're not like, oh, great, I've been wanting to hear from them. You just have that feeling of apprehension. Maybe they don't pay on time. Maybe they're a little bit rude to you or a bit rude to some of your team. Whatever it is, like, they're not that pleasant to work with. And honestly, given the choice, you'd rather not be working with people like that. Then you've got your B's. So this is the people who the enjoyment factor is there. Like you get a voice note, you know it's gonna be fun. They're booked in for something with you. You've got some kind of interaction with them. And honestly, like you quite happily hang out with these people outside of work. They're fun, they're pleasant, they're respectful to you and your whole team. They pay on time, but they're not paying a huge amount. They're not your high paying customers. Then you've got your C's. So these people pay well. And quite frankly, we all want people like that. But they're probably also a pain in the backside. So the enjoyment is not high with these guys. They're maybe difficult, they're, maybe challenging, they're maybe just zapping your energy, and you come out of spending time with them just thinking like, oh God, that was really hard work. Does anyone have any clients like this? They pay well, but oh yeah, great. You'd actually rather not be working with them. And then you've got your D's. So these are the people who pay you well, and they are a joy to work with. You come out of that time with them feeling pumped, feeling energized. You could work with, I'm going to say 100, maybe not 100, but like you could work with 10 more of them. Depends what you do, doesn't it? These are the people that we want to be targeting. And what I'd really encourage you to do is think through your client base and just think, who are my A's? Who are my cheap pain in the ass people? And now it's not going to be right for everybody, but I recommend over time, or maybe sooner, stop working with these kind of people. It's not going to be possible for everyone to do this immediately. Like I know cash flow, I know times are tough for some people at the moment. And actually for some people, like any client's a good client. We've all been there. That's fine. It's a season. You will get past that. But they're not the people you want to be targeting. So don't put your energy into bringing on the low paying, non-enjoyable clients. So then your B's. So these are really fun to work with, but not paying that well. If it were me, I'd be investing some time in these people. I'd be helping them to grow their business and helping them to become one of my higher paying clients, because you want to work with people that you get joy from. You want to work with people where the work is fulfilling, there's respect, and it's a satisfying thing to do. Then you've got the C's. So the ones that you don't really love, but they pay you well. Now, not for everyone, but there is a school of thought that suggests you take these people out to lunch, you explain how this all works and ask them where they think they sit. They probably don't think they're a C. And you can explain what it is that you find tricky about working with them and how you'd like to improve that relationship. Have I ever done this? No, I've just fired them. But it's an option. I would say only do this if you're willing to lose them as a client, because some people get easily offended. But in theory, they're not the people you want to be working with. And the D's, the people who you love working with, who are paying you well, put your energy with these people. Spend the time, ask them for referrals, who else do they know? And when you're profiling your ideal target, your ideal client, profile the D's. Please, please, please do not profile the pain in the ass cheap people, because what you go after, you're going to get. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to take 30 seconds and just list out a few names of who your D clients are? Because we're going to use this. Okay, you can do it in your head. Oh, I'm meant to be throwing jelly babies.
Not at all.
No one's really interacting. You can just eat them if you want to. Okay, where did I get to on my notes? So, interestingly, when we think about who is actually buying from us and where they sit, we can also start to think about the types of clients those are, especially the A's, and where have they come from and what have they got in common. And actually, a lot of the time in our businesses, and I really encourage you when you go away to look at your financial records and work out who are the 20% of your clients that are providing 80% of your income. You probably don't realize who they are. Hopefully you do, but not everyone does. And it can be really, really eye-opening. And actually, it should be fairly simple to profile. If you're a startup, and I know some of you in the room will be, just use your best guess. If you've only got a handful of clients, still profile them, still think about it. but actually come back and do this exercise in 6 months' time, in a year's time. Because as we grow, like when I did this exercise 3 years ago, I profiled my, at the time, favorite client, somebody I absolutely loved working with. She runs now like a really well-known like HR consultancy. And actually, I built an avatar, about to go on and build avatars. I built an avatar around her, and it helped me to bring on a load of absolutely phenomenal, generally female clients at that point in my business, which is quite interesting. My avatars have moved. Now, most of my top paying clients are men, which is fine. I also like working with men, but I'm probably most passionate about working with women. Yeah. So the exercise that we're about to move on to is something a lot of people highly resist. So a few years ago, I was working with a client in Brazil. I don't work with a lot of clients in Brazil. I only work with them if they speak English, but as you might have guessed from my surname, there is a Brazilian connection. And it was a care home. And honestly, they were super, super resistant to doing any work on avatars. Like I asked them, who's spending the most money from you? Like, who are you targeting? And they were like, oh no, everyone buys from us. There's no one specific. And I challenged that. And I said, honestly, there will be. Let's just take 20 minutes to do this work. It was like getting blood from a stone. But actually, what we realized, they're in the Rio area, like Rio de Janeiro. They thought, and they were at the time, they were using Facebook marketing to bring leads in. They were also targeting the adult children of the elderly people who be in care. So it was a care home. And they were literally just doing a spray and pray on the whole Rio region through Facebook ads. They were targeting roughly the right age demographic, but there was no geographic logic behind what they were doing. They were just chucking stuff out in the entire area and just seeing what landed. And honestly, they were doing great. You know, this business won loads of awards. It was on a very steep growth trajectory. But there wasn't quite enough logic in their marketing. So through profiling their top clients, so their highest paying clients who were actually the easiest to work with, because in a care home, there's some people that don't necessarily want to be targeting more of them. They're quite hard work and high risk, especially in that culture. Yeah, the thing that came out of this exercise is that actually most of their top clients didn't come from Rio at all. They actually came from a small band of small cities just off a motorway that fed into where the care home was located. What they also realized is that all of those ideal clients were on final salary pensions. So they'd basically been in a government job. So they'd been, or they'd been a doctor, a lawyer, or government employee. And the people who were being targeted with the marketing, the adult children, they were in similar kind of jobs. So actually, instead of just firing money into marketing all over the Rio region, they changed the location, and they literally fired money into these 4 fairly small cities into a very specific age demographic. So the adult kids, so it would have been, I think, I'm going to say something like 45 or 50 to about 65 within a very small range of jobs. And that year, their profit, not revenue, went over $1 million in local currency. So the benefit of really leaning in and understanding this and thinking about it, like, I cannot overemphasize. So give me a wave if you were feeling kind of resistant to doing this 5 minutes ago. And no one's going to admit that. You guys are like, yeah, we've got to interact a bit more. Give me a thumbs up, just a cheeky little one if you're like, okay, I'm actually willing to listen to this. Thank you. Okay, that's where we're at. So when we're creating an avatar, we're literally trying to bring a description or some kind of picture, some kind of, a description of our ideal client. I recommend using people you're already working with. If you've got those A people they're great to work with and they're paying you well, I would use them. You can do more than one. So I work with, I was also a company in care, but in the UK a couple of weeks ago on a VIP day. And one of the things that we really went into was their client avatars. And we profiled loads of different people, and it was really interesting to see what came out. Something that they realized on that day that they'd never realized before is that some of their clients are just really angry. Like their life hasn't turned out quite how they thought. You know, they're maybe in their 60s, they should be like off, you know, on these like amazing retirement, like safaris and cruises. And actually something's happened often to their other half, and they are stuck being a carer and just life. So actually understanding that has been really powerful for the marketing and for actually converting those clients that need that company's support. So converting those leads into clients for that company. Okay, so what we're looking to do with avatars, we're looking to identify the common characteristics and build a picture. Who in this room is B2B? Who's a business selling to businesses? You are, amazing. You are, awesome. You're probably both, aren't you? Yeah. So there's quite a mix in this room. And actually, can you guys just shout out, like, what's your sector? What do you do?
Service industry provider, service, laundry and dry cleaning service.
Love it.
Commercial and private customers.
Love it. We need people like you. Thanks very much. How about you? What do you do?
Helping companies reduce their carbon emissions.
Awesome. Very nice sector. Thank you very much. I know what you do. Do you want to tell the room?
Yeah, service workspace provider,
Love it.
travel and tourism, electric bikes, sustainability.
Yeah, amazing.
I'm an artist.
Artist, gorgeous.
I'm a planning consultant.
Planning consultant. We need everyone. That's a great job. Might need to speak to you.
I'm business support in the local authority.
Love it. Welcome. Great to have you here.
I'm a membership manager supporting businesses.
Amazing. Great to have you here. And
With grant administration, business support, yeah, you know we are.
I know. I love it. Okay. So we're going to just think really quickly about B2B first, because you're still working with people. And actually, even when you're targeting businesses, they are run by people, and people are the same. So we want to be considering the demographics of your ideal client avatar. So when you're thinking about the businesses, think about your top customers. What industries are they in? What do they look like? What sort of size are they? Are they owner managed? You know, for some businesses, they've got bigger, they've sold to private equity. It's a very, very different person who's running it than if it's a small family-run business. How many employees do they have? What does that look like? So for some of you, they've got a big team of potentially like low-paid workers. For some of you, you know, you're targeting law firms. So it's a very, very different to, so I work with a lot of lawyers and a lot of care, I'm not sure how, and a lot of AC companies as well. Very random. I have 2 clients in the AC sector, both called Jack. Could not be any more confusing. One introduced the other. I should have said no, but my brain can almost handle it. But yeah, so targeting a law firm and targeting a care company, they're very different propositions. Do they have their own premises? You know, are they in their own building? Are they renting? Where is that? You know, are they in a business park somewhere like this? Are they renting space? For some of them, they might be in a co-working space, loads of different businesses around them. I think I've just flicked over to the wrong page. I have. You know, for some of them, it's literally a team of remote workers. Some of their team might not even be in the UK. I don't know if anyone here takes advantage of favourable payment terms overseas, but yeah, I'm big on outsourcing. My team is very global. And then think about the psychographics. So this is what motivates the decision makers. So the key thing to think about are who are the decision makers in that business. We're all automatically going to think it's the owners and the directors, but actually a lot of the time it's the VA, the PA, the executive assistant who's actually got the initial decision-making power. So we want to be profiling them and understanding them and their motivations as much as we do the owner of the business. So we want to be thinking about, and we're going to think about this more when we look at B2C, but their behaviors, their values, their hobbies. Where are these people hanging out outside of work? Where are they even hanging out inside of work? You know, for somebody who's chained to their desk, they might be really bored and on social media a lot of the day. I spend far too much time on LinkedIn. I mean, it is marketing. I do get lots of business from it. But, you know, for somebody like me, if you wanted to connect with me, that's a really good place to do it. And what's the impact of the kind of decision that they'll be making about you and working with you that will impact on them both personally and in their business? And also, who are the background decision makers? I actually had somebody tell me very recently, somebody I decided not to work with, and I totally told them I might be listening to this. Yeah, I couldn't work with them. Anyway, yeah, somebody told me I had to pitch my services to his wife to get signed off. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. Like, you know, if you want to work with me, great. But if that was the thing, you should have brought her on this call. Like, we're not booking in another hour. But understanding, because some people do, and for the bigger value contracts, it will actually be worth thinking, like, who else do you need to have in this conversation? Like, who else needs to sign off, and how can I support them to make that decision with you? So for those of you who are targeting consumers, so individuals, I find this a lot more fun, and it all applies to the businesses as well. So it's worth taking time to really get in their heads and build up a picture of who they are. What does their life look like? So where are they living? Are they in the centre of London in a swanky little flat? Are they actually out in the gorgeous Kent countryside, you know, surrounded by grass? Are they, you know, living close to the station in a big city because they want to easily have access into London? What does that look like? What are they driving? So for some of you, hopefully your target market, they are driving electric vehicles. They're also having a little bit of a quibble because they're like, are these actually as good as we think they are? But that's like a whole different conversation. But, you know, they've gone green. That is a big, important thing for them. They're using the green banks. They're using the green energy providers. For some of you, that is the absolute opposite of your target market. Some of you, your target market are driving the cheapest, most functional car they can find. There may be a problem with that target market because whether or not they can afford you, but it really depends what you do. Some of you are literally targeting the people who are, like, I have an amazing client. I totally freaked out the first time she gave me a lift anywhere because she rocked up in a Porsche SUV. And I was like, scared to even get into this, it's so clean. So have a think, like, what is their lifestyle? What are they driving? What choices are they making? Are they an iPhone person? Are they an Android person? Because all of that says things about them and it influences how you want to be connecting with them. Like, where are they shopping? Are they like an Aldi and Lidl kind of person? Are they a Waitrose? Are they, you know, do they get their groceries delivered to their door? Because that says a lot too. That's all about convenience. So as you build this picture of them, you start to understand more and more of what's going on in their head. Where are they spending their time? You know, are they parents? Are they literally every day, like, rushing through their work, running to grab kids from the school gate and just trying to make it all work? Again, that's going to be a demographic that loves a bit of convenience. What's the income in their house? Is it a single income? Is it a joint income? What kind of income bracket are they in? You know, what kind of housing bracket are they in? Are they living in a gorgeous little cottage somewhere? Or actually, are they in a bigger, you know, this is the Kent people, it's not going to be the London people, but are they in a bigger house? You know, is it a detached house surrounded by grass? And who are the decision makers in the family? So I profile the people you know for this, because a lot of the time it's not necessarily the person with the money who's making the decision. It might be somebody else, or the person who thinks they're making the decision might not actually be making the final decision. So you need to make sure you're hitting all the touch points in your marketing, and, you know, it really depends on what you're selling. So with the psychographics, we're looking at behaviors. So that is, you know, the type of buying decisions they're making. Is it ethical? Is it convenience? Hopefully some of them is both. Some of them it's going to be neither. What are their hobbies? Like, where are they hanging out? If they're on social media, which most people are, what platforms are they spending their time on? You know, there's a very different demographic that's going to be on TikTok and that's going to be on LinkedIn. And there's crossover, But for me, I could be on TikTok, but honestly, I'm not cool enough. And most of my clients aren't there. Like they're there, but they're not taking it as a serious platform. They're there for fun. And where are they hanging out? So for some of you, you're going to be targeting people who literally, they are at their desk. They're quite hard to reach. And actually, it might be with those people that something quite traditional, like something through the post, is a really good way of reaching them. It might not be. Okay. So now let's think really deep. And this, honestly, the more you think, the more you learn into this. And this is recorded. Is there going to be a recording circulated? Yes. Listen back, guys, because this is a lot, and I know it's a lot. What's going on inside their heads? So hopefully you've picked one example. What are the little niggles in their heads on a daily basis with regard to the product or service you offer? Is their life, and I say this as a mum of like 2 young kids, there's 4 businesses in my house, they're all like absolutely flying, but I am time poor and honestly quite frazzled. It's not the like look I try and put out to people, but it is the reality. Are they just trying to keep all the balls up in the air? Because there's going to be a really certain type of messaging that's going to appeal to those people. What are they worried about? Like for some of your target market, and not everyone, but they're actually just worried about how are they going to keep paying their team if you're targeting a business. For some of them, it's, oh my God, look at what's happening in the world around us. Is there still going to be a planet in 20 years' time? Like, what's going to happen to my kids? And for others, it's just literally like, oh God, have I picked up the dry cleaning? Did I do that? I need that shirt for that. Whatever it is. What's keeping them awake at night? What is that really deep thing that's weighing on them that they're not even willing to admit to their partner? What are their biggest fears? And their biggest irritations? What are they really pissed off about? Especially as it relates to your industry, because this can be a really clever thing in your marketing. And what frustrates them on a daily basis? I feel like we've gone too much into annoyances there. What do they want in life? Like, if they could wave a magic wand and change one thing, what would it be? Especially as it relates to what you do. And the same for their business. Like, what do they really want? What deep down are their like deep heartfelt desires? Again, that they might not have even admitted to themselves or to those close to them. What trends are affecting them? So for you, Mr. Sustainability, it's such a massive trend at the moment. It's it's a big thing that people are really, really conscious about, not necessarily doing well, but generally people are putting their energy there. It's a massive trend that's going to come up in nobody here is into fitness, or sorry, not into fitness, but nobody here is in the fitness sector. But January, absolutely golden time for anyone who is in the fitness industry. It's a great time for me. Like, yeah, it's a time where people want to, am I allowed to swear? Get their stuff together. And sorry, I feel like I've been borderline already. Sorry about that. It's time where people said they want to get everything together. They want to be making positive, good changes in their health, in their social life, and in their work. Totally lost my place, guys. And where are they hanging out? So this one is really, really important. So where are they spending their time? Is it at the school gates? Because there's opportunities there. Is it at the supermarket? Again, opportunities there. Are they networking? If they are, what networking groups are they at? Clearly, it's not this one. I thought that was funny. Never mind. Where, if you're going to go and hang out where these people are, where would that be? Are they particularly into playing golf? Maybe they're into playing squash or tennis or something. But the more, maybe they're really into wine. I bet a load of your clients are into wine. But the more you understand of, where these people are spending their time, the better your opportunity. Social media platforms, which one are they hanging out on? What are they reading? What publications are they into? You know, are they like newspapers? Is it, you know, what kind of quality of newspapers are they into? The more we know, the more we can target. So generally for people, the pain points of why they buy are to do with fear. They don't want to miss out. They don't want to fail. It's to do with time and efficiency. People are really, especially in this day and age, they're really into convenience. And a lot of people are willing to pay for fast results or pay more for fast results. Their motivations for buying, a lot of it's ego. Anyone ever made a buying decision on ego? Okay, oh, 2 of us. The rest of you are very pure. I like it. Sometimes it's value, but it's not always value in terms of cheapness, but often it's value in like, what am I getting? A lot of the time people, depending on the target market, will be willing to pay more for a value-packed proposition than just going for a cheap option. Price point often influences indulgence. Some people like, you know, you can pay 100 quid for a perfectly decent watch, or you can pay several grand for a Rolex. There's people who are, they want that brand. They want that luxury status symbol on their wrist. Not sure it's anyone in this room, but some of you might be targeting. I bet some of your clients, Mr. Sustainability, they are Rolex people because they're about values. So make notes, guys, and really think about this. Have a think as well about what are the common objections these people have to doing business with you, because that is going to come up in your conversion conversations. And probably all of us have more than one target market. So grab the recording, watch it back, and think through this whole thing for each of those different types. So like pretty much everyone you've identified in that exercise we did before, I'd think through it, I'd profile them. So I did this literally a couple of weeks ago with the UK care company, and we did 5 different profiles, and different things came out of each of the profiles, but everything that came out was absolutely gold to use within their marketing. And then build a picture. So I like to actually physically have a picture. I sometimes use somebody I've worked with. Sometimes I just take a random like Canva graphic, you know, whatever. Google Images is amazing. Give them a name, write a little bit of blurb about them, and put them up somewhere in front of you that you can see them and be thinking about that person. So when you're putting out your advertising, you're putting out your social media, you're doing it with that person, or, you know, maybe there's sort of 4 or 5 that you've profiled in mind to keep you on point, to keep you thinking, what is it that this person needs to hear to come into my world and to choose me and my business? Okay. Are you guys with me?
Yep.
Is anyone like completely confused?
No.
No one's willing to admit it. I like it. I was going to go through some live examples, but I feel like I've gone a little bit slow, and we'll just keep going. So what does this look like in practice? Oh, hang on. Where are we at? Where are we at slides wise? Okay. We're nearing the end, guys. So you want to take all of this work, and honestly, I think you're going to come out of here, your brain's going to be frazzled. That's absolutely fine. It's, you know, I teach this stuff, and people tend to come out of this session a little bit overwhelmed, but I didn't pick the topic. It was given to me. So that's what we've gone with. You want to use all the information you've just got from building these multiple avatars and understanding your highest paying, most enjoyable clients. And you want to tailor your messaging. So you really want to think about your marketing messaging. And I highly recommend, and almost all of my clients, I recommend they do this, have a 1-pager of key messages that you work on. So when you're putting something out on social media, you're not reinventing the wheel every time. You've got bits that you can grab. When someone's like, oh, can you send me your bio? You're not like, it's my bio. You know, you're, sorry. Yeah, you are, yeah, you're ready, you're poised, and you're on brand. You've worked on the messaging that is influential, that is targeted, and then you can just keep, I'm not saying churning the same thing out again, but tweak it, modify it, but have a starting point so that when somebody does come across your messaging, it's consistent and it's you. When I say you, it's your business. So this is the really golden bit. To think through and write down the messages that your target market need to hear, so that whenever they see any of your marketing put out, it grabs them and they're like, that's me she's speaking to. That's me. These are the guys I want to use. Like, they see themselves in your messaging. You're going to have to dig deep for this, and it's quite painful. You know, it's not an easy process, but I highly recommend spend some time later today, sometime this week, spend an hour, go to a nice coffee shop, somewhere that's fun, somewhere that's creative. You know, don't sit at your desk and do this, especially not with any social media on the background. You won't do it. But take yourself off somewhere lovely and do the work, build out this one page of messaging that when people hear it, they're literally like, that's me, I need that. And it should be applied to any messaging that you're putting out. So does anyone here go networking and do like that 60-second pitch? Well, oh, this guy, yeah. Yeah. So use these key messages in your 60-second pitch. You know, if you're meeting somebody, you know, somewhere like this for the first time, use some of that messaging, like a 5-10 second version in your introduction. Because you've got to be ready for basically anyone that you meet to communicate to them in a compelling way what you do without being salesy, but you know, just be ready with the different lengths of messaging. So we actually got a flyer through the door a couple of years ago, and my story, I used to live in London, I used to live in Shoreditch. It was concrete jungle, very hip, very cool. We had no outside space that I was responsible for maintaining. We moved to Kent. My husband wanted a big garden. Turns out he didn't want to have anything to do with maintaining that big garden. So now we live in a lovely house with a big garden that's a complete chaotic mess. We got a flyer through the door from a gardening company. It was a couple of years, probably 3 years ago now, maybe pandemic times actually, 4 years ago. And the messaging on it, I can't remember, I wish I kept it, it just disappears. But it was something along the lines of, do you have a large garden that's completely overwhelming you? And it literally, that flyer came through the door in a wodge of other flyers. You know what flyers are like. And I glanced at it and I was like, oh my God, yes, that's me. Like, it got an audible reaction. And that's what you're looking to do, is understand your target market well enough that you can put a one-liner headline and have people be like, uh-huh, I need this. So yeah, take the time, do the work. And then, you know, so it's your networking 60 seconds on your social media, on your website. Does anyone have a website that is completely functional, but maybe the messaging isn't that compelling? So go and do some work on that. Do all this work first. You probably have to do about 10 profiles. We've got a lot of different, a lot of different people you're targeting. I happen to know her best in the room, by the way. We have met before several times. But you want to really understand people and then make sure that the messaging on your website, because when people hit your website, and I'm not sure what the exact stat is, you don't have long before they bounce. You know, it's seconds and there's not many of them. So you want to make sure that the headline on your website is just drawing them in. So everything's got to draw them in that little step until they take that step that, you know, is maybe booking a phone call or asking for a quote or whatever it is that you want them to do. Okay. So we want to also consider, and I've mentioned this before, probably twice already, but really think about where they're hanging out. There's going to be a lot of you who are marketing your business on Instagram. Maybe not you, I'm not sure. Not your thing, but your ideal target market is on LinkedIn. And I hear this so much. People be like, I like Instagram. Well, are you making money from it? You want to be where the people are who want you and who can afford you. And really, really think carefully about where that is and choose the best medium. So for some of you, it is LinkedIn. Sorry, it is Instagram. Honestly, for like PTs, for people who are targeting, people who they've got time to be scrolling, they are you know, they're looking for something fun, something health related, that is definitely the right place. For me, it's not. I get a lot of traction. I have a load of Instagram friends. None of them are my clients. LinkedIn, much less fun place to be, much more boring to show up consistently. I get a lot of business from there. So it's choosing your pain. Do you want the pain of doing the boring marketing in the place that you'd rather not be? Or do you want the pain of doing that marketing but not getting the results from it? And as I said earlier, for some of my clients, you know, they need to go down the PR route. Their future clients, they need to see them in the publications they're reading. So having done the work to understand what are the newspapers, what are the magazines that they would turn to, really powerful. For some people, it's industry publications. Some people need to see people speaking on stages. You know, the more you go in depth, the more knowledge you have. Okay. So make sure your marketing is speaking to their problems, it's speaking to their frustrations. So it's identifying what is the key thing, that number one thing, if they can wave a magic wand, that they would fix, that you can help them with. And make sure you're talking about that in a way that relates to them, in a way that's compelling to them. I highly recommend as well, when you understand your target market, use social proof. Does anyone know what social proof is? It's basically things like testimonials, it's case studies, it's showcasing other users, it's industry accreditations, it's anything that people can look at and validate you and your business as a legit person to buy from. So it's seeing that people, ideally, just like them, are using and loving your products or services. So if you are targeting men, which you may or may not be, and all of your testimonials are from women, it's probably not going to land with them. So oh my goodness, this person, I actually wish I'd never worked with him. He was very challenging, probably the most challenging person I've ever worked with, but it was coming out of COVID and, you know, it was nice to have a client that wanted to pay me well for working with me. I can't remember what I'm talking about now, but yeah, love it. Validation, thank you. So his big thing with me, he's like, do you only work with women? I was like, no, I've got, you know, I've worked the mix. Like, I prefer working with women. They tend to be more fun. But yeah, I do have like a handful of men. He's like, well, every single testimonial on your website is from a woman. I was like, oh, I hadn't even realized that. Thank you very much. And it's little things like that. So if you're wanting to target somebody who is, you know, a high earner living in a nice house, but actually you're showcasing in one of your case studies or like a testimonial, somebody that's obviously from a very different income bracket, you're not going to be hitting this social proof that people just like me are using and loving this service with that person. Yes.
Ask a question.
Yes.
In our case studies or our testimonials, we have stories direct from our customers, but would it be useful to do a little box saying 5 to 10 employees, manufacturing, so that somebody at a glance can read that rather than delve into the whole story and realise it's not.
It probably would. So yes and no.
Right.
It depends how targeted, how representative they are of the people you want to work with. So for some people, it might put them off, but for others, it might be useful. So it's really like unique to you. But what I personally do is I have the person's name, I have their job title, I have a picture if I can. I don't always because it takes up space, but I have their role. So people can be like, oh, founder, CEO. And for them, that's the validation. And if it's on social media, I'll always tag so that people can go and look at that person. And I'll never tag anyone that doesn't make me look good. Do you know what I mean? I have a like load of like clients that I, you know, help out who are not maybe my dream clients, but they're not the type of people that I necessarily want to be working with. You know, a lot of them are like friends, and you know, you gotta help your friends, but I won't be showcasing them because they're not going to align with my ideal client, if that makes sense. And actually, this stuff can work really well. Like I, in the last year, have ended up working with my own personal business idol. We met randomly at a networking event, happened to sit next to her. And she's become one of my mastermind clients. And it just goes to show that when you position yourself, and as you sort of over time increase the profile of the people that you're talking about, honestly, it can bring in some very, very high caliber clients. And for a lot of you, you're going to be building up to that over time. Some of you, you're there, you've got your dream people. Okay. So use social proof, use testimonials, and keep tweaking your messaging. Like, you should always be working on this. You know, revisit it every month, keep tweaking that thing, and see if you can make it any better. So a couple of key thoughts before I wrap up. Sell your target market what they want rather than what they need. So I have gone on a recent health kick. I am toning up, but what I really needed to do was stop eating rubbish and start doing some really unpleasant exercise. Nobody was ever going to manage to sell me on that. But if you can paint the vision of what life can be like when you are fitter, healthier, the increase in energy, you've got to sell people what they want and then deliver within their expectations of what they need to make that a reality. You've got to be thinking about your conversion as well. So use all of this information that you've gleaned from your avatars when you're having that conversation. Somebody's coming as a lead, you're having a phone call, whatever. Is that are they going to become a client or not? Make sure that you're touching on the pain points, that everything that you've learned, to help them to know that you really understand them and you want what's best for them. You can also use all of this information to build in what I call moments of truth. So these are wow moments. So it can be pre-conversion, like just that early stage relationship building, but I like to do it mostly with clients, where you're giving them small wow moments where they're like, oh my goodness, this person's really top of their game, or it's just like an unexpected something that, rather than their satisfaction level being here, and you never want their satisfaction level to dip below because you'll probably lose them, but it just gives unexpected moments where the satisfaction is like, wow, this is amazing. And the more you understand your clients, the better you can build those in. Also, upsells and cross-sells. The better you understand them, what else do you do that they might need? Like, you're a dry cleaner, but I bet you have a drop-off laundry service. And actually, it's not for everyone, but there is a target market that just does not want to be wasting their time. It's a big target market. So if you're doing their dry cleaning, maybe there is some kind of opportunity for you to give a flyer when they get their dry cleaning back that gives them a money off trial of your laundry service. You know, there's opportunities everywhere to upsell, to cross-sell, but you've got to understand people and what's going on in their head. And the better you know them, the better you are positioned to convert them into raving fans and advocates of you and your brand, who go out and they tell the people that they know about you and they do your marketing on your behalf. Anyone like a bit of that?
Yep.
And you build up to it, you get there. So to wrap up, I would invite you all to set an intention to get strategic about growing your business. And I have a couple of invitations for you. The first one is to a workshop that I'm running on Tuesday. It's a 1-hour workshop over Zoom. It's for clarity and strategy. So there's going to be a lot of people on it. It's always quite busy, but it's to help you carve out an hour to think like the CEO of your business, to think about what's working, what's not working, what do I need to be doing to push forward in my business. I normally sell it for £97. That link will get you in for free. It will also add you to my mailing list for full disclosure, but that's how these things work. So highly encourage you all to grab your phone and book on, because this stuff's golden and this is a really logical next step. Like, you're going to come away from this with information overload. Tuesday, 10 a.m. is the perfect time to be thinking, right, what action am I going to take? What do I need to do to have the best December possible in my business? Anyone need another moment to book on? Okay, we're coming up for more QR codes. let's connect. I spend far too much time on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. It's not really me. My lovely VA takes all my stuff and fires it across, but any interaction is me. So it's like a team effort. But I don't waste as much time on there as you think I do. LinkedIn, all the time wasting is me, and I get a lot from it. So yeah, love to connect. I try to share as much value as possible. Like I'm very much about helping people, and I recognize that, you know, not everyone's going to be my client, but everyone needs this stuff. And then, get inspired. I have a podcast called Dominate Your Niche. I don't know if anyone in this room is into listening to podcasts. I interview some of the best business owners that I know who have become known as the go-to person for what they do. And they share all of their deep, dark secrets about how did they make their business the success that it is today. It's high energy, it's fun, we laugh a lot, we do swear a little, so if that upsets you, go somewhere else. But it's just a good source of free inspiration, especially if it's going to be some days, like running a business, ups and downs, highs and lows, it's a roller coaster. If you ever need to pick me up, this is a very good place. But thank you very much, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, Ruth.